What's up, guys? I'm Mike D'Antonio, founder and CEO of StockedUp, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. I hope everyone enjoyed their long weekend, and happy 4th of July to everyone watching this video. We did have a long weekend in the market. Friday was closed. Thursday was a little bit of a slow day, but there still is some important information that came out over the weekend regarding the stock market for this week. So we're going to cover all of that very soon. But before we get started, if you guys are new here, don't forget to subscribe to see our daily videos on your YouTube homepage every single day. And if you guys gain value from these videos, Tom and I would really appreciate it if you guys could hit that like button. So we have COVID cases rising. We have Luckin Coffee. One of the chairmen for that company was ousted by shareholders. And we have a lot of more important news to go over in this video. We're going to be sharing the top plays that we're looking at for this week, as well as a $1.4 million option that I really like for this week. And it looks like a great buying opportunity. So we'll talk about this very shortly. And, with that being said, Tom, what happened over the weekend?
Yeah, over the weekend, there's been tons of articles coming out about Florida and Texas hitting record numbers of coronavirus cases, especially in Florida. And it's gotten so bad that the mayor of Miami actually had to issue a curfew from 10 p.m. till 6 a.m. in the morning. And that will be in place indefinitely. And it also closes casinos, movie theaters, and other entertainment venues. And that's huge news, guys. The U.S. reported more than 52,000 new cases across within 24 hours, and that's mostly just within the South and West. If you include California, and then you also include, like I said, Florida and Texas. But the thing is that Florida, I believe, had 11,000 cases, and Texas had 8,000 new cases within the last 24 hours, and that's terrible cases. But the thing is that over the weekend, a lot of people were really getting together during the 4th of July, and we could see the market kind of did hit a nice resistance level on Thursday and start to fall down even into Friday morning before trading was halted at around noon. The market still ended up coming down, and we are trading down below some technicals. So I think that this news could definitely affect the market, and I think it could affect it to the downside.
Well, Tom, can you go to the daily chart and show everyone the channel you have set up? So you guys can see how we've been bouncing back and forth in between this channel with the market. For the S&P 500, like Tom has, where's the top resistance at, Tom?
It's right around like 3,156.
Okay, and then what about the support?
Let me go back to the 15. The support's going to be like right around 3,075.
Yeah, so right around 3,075, and there's even another support level at 3,000. So between those three levels, we've been channeling between those three levels for weeks now, and it's been very choppy. So with this new COVID news, right, obviously cases are rising, and the market, as of how it stands right now, doesn't really care because cases have been rising exponentially for the past week, the past couple of days, right? And I don't think these new COVID cases are definitely going to affect the market in a bad way. But what I do think can affect the market in a bad way is if states start to close down again. So, we're having tons of new cases, right? And I know the death rate is going down, which is a good sign. So I think the COVID cases won't really affect the market too much. But I do think that if these states kind of follow suit with what Florida's doing and how they're like pausing their reopening phases, how they're reshutting things down. If the economy starts to shut down again, I think that will be horrible for the market. Horrible. And it's too early to tell now. We've only really had Florida actually like pause reopening plans. A couple other states and counties across the U.S. have made some adjustments to their reopening plans. But right now, it's not too bad. However, if we do start to see counties and states even shut down or just pause, I think that can definitely affect the market in a bearish way. So futures aren't open yet, so we don't know exactly what's going on right now. But I think that's the main thing to watch out for. What do you think?
Yeah, they'll definitely open up in a few hours, and I think that they'll definitely move overnight tonight. We have seen a lot of movement in the pre-market and after hours sections of like the futures trading, you could just say like futures trade 24/5 pretty much. So pretty much just the futures traded overnight. Like you can see overnight between Thursday and Friday, we had a nice like 40-point move almost on the S&P, which is pretty good. And you see big moves like that overnight, especially like once the Chinese markets start opening, because they bring a lot of volume into our markets as well. And you can really see a lot of negative momentum sometimes come out of those almost like Chinese like volume influxes once those markets open. And if you do actually pull up world clocks and look at the time when they open, that volume really does end up coming in more significantly than usual. But the thing is that, yeah, I definitely think it'll affect it to the negative side. But like you said, once they actually start closing down the states and states start implementing different things, that's when it's going to really start happening. And I really think it's hilarious how also this week, over the weekend, Luckin Coffee, the CEO or the top executive pretty much was ousted by shareholders, and that's crazy to hear. They also ousted three other executives as well, and that's crazy to hear. And you can see on the chart they dropped about 50% on Thursday, which was insane. And I believe they even got delisted for a few days, didn't they?
I don't know if they got delisted, but I know there's definitely some shady things going on with them. Obviously, that's why the stock dropped from $26 to about $5 in a day. I don't know if they actually got delisted or not. Right now on TD Ameritrade, it's showing that they're still a part of the NASDAQ, but sometimes that data is a little bit delayed. So I'm not sure exactly if they got delisted, but I'm definitely not bullish on LK. Like it's kind of unfortunate that this situation happened with the like accounting fraud / scam by the company. But I think it's a good lesson to investors, to definitely be careful, especially with these Chinese companies that are listed on like U.S. exchanges. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they've even started to talk about regulating these stocks more based off of what happened to LK, and that could really start affecting Chinese stocks. And a lot of people have just been getting their whole portfolios out of Chinese stocks because a lot of people have been advised to do that because I believe there was some news going on a little while ago where they were definitely going to start looking at even getting Chinese stocks off the U.S. market.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, I don't want to say it's good or bad, but I think the LK Luckin Coffee, I think that's just like a big lesson to everyone. And hopefully everything just gets resolved for the better with all these companies, and hopefully another one of these situations does not have to happen again. So we will see. So now with the momentum plays for tomorrow, and before we get into that, I want to give a little shout out to our member of the day. Every single day, or every single Stocks with Mike and Tom episode, we give a little shout out to one of the Discord members. If you guys want to become a Discord member, you can click the first link in the description down below. It's completely free. We have about 5,000 people in the group. We're always talking stocks, options, and finance. So feel free to join, and I give out free day trades. So feel free to join that. And for today's member of the day, we have Dr. Kim. So Doctor has been in the group for a little bit now. He's definitely a great guy. I've talked with him one-on-one. He's always willing to help new members, so we really appreciate that. He's a great asset to the community and always very optimistic and positive. So thank you so much, Dr. Kim, for being a great member of the community. And now with the momentum stocks for tomorrow. The first one is NKLA. So this one's definitely a big mover. Had a pretty big down day on Friday, and it looks like this one can definitely have a lot more downside momentum. Had some good relative volume, meaning there was more volume than normal on this stock. And it looks like there definitely is room to the downside. So what levels should we be watching for NKLA tomorrow?
They had an amazing bounce off of 55, so watch that price very closely.
Yep, so 55, if NKLA breaks below 55, we will be looking at this in a bearish sense. You can even look, 55 was definitely a level. You could even look at, what is that? What's like the next support? Yeah, like right there, Tom, like maybe even like
maybe 57.
Yeah, 57. So anywhere from 55 to 57. If you want to play it safe, you could get in. You could consider getting in when it breaks below 55. If you want to risk it a little more, you can try the 57 level. Next stock is SFIX, Stitch Fix.
Yep, Stitch Fix. Watch for them to go ahead and break above 28.70.
28.70. So if it breaks above that level, we will be looking at Stitch Fix in a bullish sense. NKLA was a bearish sense, just so you guys know. Now with NIO.
Yep, NIO, another electric vehicle company. Watch for them to break above 9.85.
9.85. So stock's a little bit lower price, but 9.85, again, if it breaks above that, we'll be looking at it in a bullish sense. And now with Apple.
AAPL. I don't know what I'm doing here. Okay, watch for Apple to go ahead and break below 364.
Yep, 364. So Apple's one of those stocks that, like, it's hard to bet against Apple to the downside, but it's been up for so long that this can potentially be a good day trade. So if it breaks below 364, we will be looking at Apple in a bearish sense, meaning to the downside. So now with the $1.4 million options trade for tomorrow. And actually, like, I think this can be a decent swing trade. And I know this is going to sound crazy, guys, but I've been doing a lot of analysis over the weekend with Apple and the tech sector overall. The tech sector was very inflated the past 2 weeks. Apple is an amazing, amazing company for the long term. They were definitely one of the top bulls of the past couple of years. And I love Apple for the long term, but there we might see a short-term pullback. And the reason I say this is because I'm seeing like tens and tens of millions of dollars of calls, what looks like to be shorted on Apple for this week, meaning that they're just selling a ton of calls, meaning that they want the stock to stay the same or to fall. So by looking at that, I went ahead and I started to look at some of the put options for Apple, and the Apple 375 strike put options that expire this week, July 10th, had $1.4 million put into it. And I was really looking at the bid and ask and all the price action history with this. And it really, really looks like someone is taking a pretty large put position on Apple. So this looks like it can potentially be a good trade. The options market is looking like Apple is going to stay flat this week or even dip a little bit. So keep that in mind. And I think it is very bearish to see how, it's not like they're just putting $1.4 million into the puts. They're buying the puts that are in the money, which is generally a pretty bearish sign, because if the puts are out of the money, generally there's a higher chance that they are shorting those puts. However, by them trading the puts that are pretty far in the money, $10 in the money, it looks like they can definitely be shorting Apple, and especially with cases surging and us at a pretty big resistance point in the market overall. I think we can definitely see a potential downwards movement with Apple this week. I'm not saying Apple's going to fall, but I'm saying pretty much we have a lot of people buying puts on Apple, a lot of people selling calls. It looks like Apple can have a pretty good chance of falling this week. So consider the Apple 375 strike put options that expire this week, July 10th, with about $1.4 million in volume put into them. Looks like it could be a solid trade. Obviously, always do your own due diligence before making a move on this. All right. So now with the comments from the previous episode. So with the first question, we have Drew saying, I have a question about trading patterns. For example, I'll use the head and shoulders pattern. If the head and shoulders pattern is green/bullish, does that mean it indicates that it'll go into a bearish trend, and vice versa? If the shoulders and head candlesticks are red/bearish, does that indicate a bullish trend is about to break out? Thanks, Mike and Tom. So, Tom, I will let you cover this one.
Yeah, hang on one second. I'm going to pull up a quick picture on a head and shoulders pattern just so we can reference it while we're talking about it here.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'll definitely be the best way to go.
Yeah, let me get it up real quick.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. So, yeah, there's a lot of different patterns you could do. Tom, whenever you have that picture, just let us know. But, yeah, Drew, I mean, there's definitely a lot of different patterns you can do. Some work better than others. Tom's going to pull up a picture real quick to answer your question.
Yeah, so here's a picture on the right side of my screen, and we can see how this is like a head and shoulder right here, and we can see it's a bearish head and shoulders because see how the head is on the top and then the shoulders are kind of below the head. That's normally going to show you, and then also the neckline is down here, kind of like how it says. So what that shows you is that if we fall below the neckline, then you're going to be bearish, and also you're going to be bearish whenever the shoulders, like whenever this right shoulder starts to form and bounces off the left shoulder, you'd start to be bearish right there because it's a bounce off that other shoulder. But if this was flipped upside down and the head was down here and then the shoulders were here, then it would almost be like a W pattern, and it would be more bullish. And that's where you'd want to be more bullish on them. And then with like if you have the head above the shoulders, that's where you want to be bearish.
Yeah, so pretty much if the head is above the shoulders, it's bearish. If it's below the shoulders, then it is bullish. So Tom, you could just search like inverse head and shoulders, or whoever wants to do it, you could just search inverse head and shoulders. You will get the other pattern. So with the next question, let's see. With the next question, we have Stress saying, such a great episode. I'd love to hear how you can safeguard a call option that may not have moved yet. I think you called it something like a call debit spread. Is there a way you can protect yourself if things aren't moving right? Also, for your morning tips, is it okay to do them right away? I know some people say not to do anything for the first hour of market, but it seems like there's a lot of momentum. So then a good time if the direction is right. Absolutely, and great question. So to answer your first question, is there any way you can protect yourself if things aren't moving right? Absolutely, and there's a couple ways to do that. It really depends. Like if you're buying, like there are so many ways to protect yourself. Like for example, let's just say like you were owning shares of the stock, right? You can buy puts, and that is technically like insurance on your stock. So that's the reason that options were originally invented, was to help your equity position. So I think you're probably asking about options though. So like, let's say you had a call option. You can protect yourself. Like I made a video on Friday about how to guarantee profits with options trading. You can do that too. So you can turn the play into a debit spread. If you are much more advanced, you could turn the play into a credit spread. But I would say, to answer your question in the easiest and most simple way, yes, and to protect yourself if things aren't moving right, I would either turn it into a debit spread, or I would hedge the position with an opposite option. So for example, let's say you had 5 calls on Apple, right? Then I would consider buying like maybe 1 or 2 puts on Apple to like have like a ratio right there. You know what I mean? So something along the lines of that would work best. You can also do things like, let's say, I forgot the exact name for this, but it is used by some top traders. It's like, let's say you have like calls on Apple, right? What you could do is you could just buy like a put debit spread. So if the stock does fall, then then you're protected. But if it doesn't fall, then you didn't have too much invested into the puts anyways, and you're also fighting time decay because you have the spread. So hopefully that answers your question. And then in regards to the morning tips, so like, yes, absolutely, it is totally okay to do them right away. Obviously, always do your own due diligence before you enter a trade. However, the first hour of market open is typically the best to trade because there is so much momentum. There are so many stocks moving. Most of the movement throughout the day happens within the first hour to hour and a half of market open. All right. With the next question, we have Alex saying, love the show. Great episode as always, guys. Only thing I'd say in regards to trading, especially in these crazy times, is 90% of the catalyst driving price action is news. Technicals with trend lines, Fibonacci retracements, and moving averages help to visualize the price action, but the news is what's driving it. Just my 2 cents. Keep up the great work. So thank you for that comment, Alex. I totally agree with you. The market is very crazy right now. I think it really depends on the stock too. Like some stocks like Nikola, like NKLA, will definitely be heavily influenced by news. Same thing with Tesla. Tesla's a huge one. Spotify, even Roku, or even Beyond Meat, especially those ones, definitely influenced by the news. I mean, really any stock can be influenced by the news, but some stocks are more influenced than others. However, value stocks like Coca-Cola, Verizon, Home Depot, Starbucks, normally those ones aren't influenced as much as like momentum or growth stocks are, like Beyond Meat or Tesla. With the next question, we have, let's see. We have Lucio saying, I really enjoyed the video. Thanks for sharing this valuable info. Greetings from Argentina. So thank you so much, Lucio, for that amazing comment. With the next question, we have Danya saying, thanks for this video. Any thoughts on where Apple stock is headed next week? Well, Apple is one of those stocks where like you really just don't bet against it. It's like one of the top bulls of the past couple of years. Powerhouse stock, amazing company. They do buy back a lot of shares. Most of their candles are green on their chart. They're a powerhouse. They're a powerhouse. It's that simple. But for this week, it looks like we can potentially see some downwards movement on it. I'm not saying short Apple or load up on puts. However, I'm saying based off the options from Thursday and some of the current news, it looks like we can potentially see a small dip in Apple this week. I did see a lot of people buying puts and selling calls, which is generally a pretty bearish signal for Apple. What do you think about Apple, Tom?
Yeah, I really like it to the downside too. But like you said, it's just one of those things where they're such a powerhouse that it's scary to buy puts on them almost. But just don't go all in on it, obviously, guys, if you are going to play puts. But the thing is that they did have an all-time high up here at 372. So I would expect them to come back down and test some type of level. Since they hit that high, they did kind of fall down and test like 350, 351 levels. But really, it looks like they're almost like double topping here and two red candles in a row. And this looks like a pretty bearish candle there. And they are starting to fall below the technicals as well on a 15-minute chart. So if we fall below this 200 SMA, I could easily see Apple, falling down a lot more. But we'll see once pre-market opens up Monday morning.
Absolutely. We have Ronnie saying the technical Tom episode. LOL, I love it. Great calls on pins. I made 25% off that. And then SoCal Bengal made 35% off of the Pinterest calls you made last week, if you want to go over that.
Yeah, Pinterest was one I went over last week, and they really have a nice wedge formation still going. So you could even watch them from Monday to the upside or the downside, depending on which way we bounce off of this neckline, like right at $24 here. And we could see it played very well last Wednesday going into Thursday. We did have to play the pre-market movement, so we had to get in Thursday, and I ended up calling it out in Discord, and that's where those guys got in. And then we could see we went ahead and had a nice pre-market rise up. But we do have another wedge forming on Pinterest, and there's also one going on Tesla as well. So Tesla had 3 of them in a row. So really just watch for Tesla and Pinterest tomorrow. I really like both of those since they're in a solid technical formation.
Absolutely. We have Israel saying, awesome video, dude. Mindset is key. So yeah, awesome stuff, guys. I feel like there wasn't too much that happened on the market or with the market on Thursday because it was a slow day before the holiday. But it looks like things are going to pick up this week. I think these COVID cases is definitely they're bad news for the market, but I don't think that's going to sink the market unless states actually shut down the economy. If the economy shuts down again, I think we're in for some serious problems, and I think there is definitely some movement to have the market fall in the next couple weeks. But I'm not taking any bearish positions on that. But just like given the sense right now, the economic climate right now, it's what it kind of looks like. Like I said, I'm not getting into anything yet. I would say the biggest risk to the market right now is if the states start to close down or pause their reopening plans, because that would be horrible for the market. And if cases continue to rise, I think that is definitely a possibility. So with that being said, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or anything to watch out for this week?
Yep, just like I said in Thursday's video, the stock I'm going to be watching this week is going to be AT&T. We are trending right between these SMAs, and I really like it. We're bouncing off the 1,000, and the last few times we bounced off the 1,000, we saw a 3% dip the next day. So definitely watch for that. But it does kind of look like it might consolidate and break through. So just make sure that you see a solid direction one way or the other, and then ride it maybe like 1.5 or 2% down.
Absolutely. So hopefully you guys gained some value from this video. If you did, please consider hitting that like button. The YouTube channel has been exploding so much over the past couple weeks, and Tom and I are so grateful for all of you guys who hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and share these videos. Comments and likes and subscriptions really help grow the YouTube channel. Tom and I are so grateful for you guys. We're very excited for the market this week. Like we covered in this video, we have definitely some good setups forming. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.